Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome in to the Lindsey Beckham Show. We are live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. Here in the heart of Flora, Mississippi, the Cotton Exchange Plaza. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. 601-879-0002 is the number if you would like to call into the show today. If there is anything that you would like to say or discuss or have a comment about, 601-879-4648 is our text line. As well, if you have anything that you would like to text in to the show today. It is Friday. Hope everybody has some fun weekend plans. It's a beautiful day today. We waited till the end of the spring break week to have the good weather, but it is really a beautiful day outside. You know, Mississippi, we don't seem to have too many days that are just the right temperature. It's usually too hot or too cold, and that's why we're so grateful for people like Pure Air Consultants who sponsor the station and the Lindsey Beckham Show. But today is one of those days where it's just kind of perfect. Everybody wants to be outside in the sunshine and enjoying soaking all of this up for the little bit of time that we do have it. I'll tell you, things are quite contentious still at our state capitol. They are now, of course, getting to the end of our legislative session or coming up on that, winding things up. Just a few weeks left, coming up on conference weekend. So, what happens at this point is all the bills that originated in the House have gone through the House and through the Senate, the ones that have not died, and vice versa. And the ones that have not been killed, they're now kind of finishing up and deciding whether or not they will concur. So, what happens at that point is our Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann will appoint three senators from the Senate side. Our Speaker Jason White will appoint 3 representatives from the House. They will come together on a particular piece of legislation on conference weekend and kind of just compromise, if that's even possible at this point, looking at the Mississippi House and Senate, because they surely seem to butt heads quite often, especially, I think, more so than ever in this legislative session. They have not been able to really get along on any one particular issue. And it started off that way. From day one, it has just been very contentious between the 2 chambers. And so it's gonna be really interesting to see what will make it to conference weekend and then what those conversations will look like. So, a piece of legislation that has been really interesting to me, and this is above my pay grade, I'm not the expert whatsoever when it comes to pharmacies, and the big hot topic with our pharmacies right now is PBM reform. Now, this is something that I've been really interested in because I started working in the 8th grade. I'm from Yazoo City. I worked in a small gift shop slash pharmacy. And so, while I didn't actually work back in the pharmacy part of the business, it was still right there. And so I feel like I had some amazing men in my life who were pharmacists who I could honestly say they probably helped raise me, Max Sanders and Joe Mohammed. And I was very close to both of them, learned a lot from them both. And because of that, I've stayed close with them and their families, and I've seen the comments that they've made about what needs to happen with independent pharmacies here in the state of Mississippi and what's been happening across the country, how so many of these small independent mom and pop pharmacy businesses are going out of business. Quite frankly, many are having to close their doors. They can't afford to pay their staff. A friend of mine I graduated high school with is a pharmacist in Greenwood, and I've seen her and her husband posting about this on social media and their concerns. So there was a bill this session that originated in the House. Yesterday, it was brought up on the Senate floor. Few fireworks there. There's been a lot of fireworks this session. There really has. Now, from what I understand, there was a strike all. The Senate gutted yet another House bill and made their own provisions to the bill. I think there was a lot of back and forth. There is a group on social media called the SIP for PBM Reform, and I know Jameson Haygood, before he left the station here, he had the kind of the leader of that group on his show to talk about why this legislation is needed to protect your hometown independent pharmacies. I spoke with that same person today. Unfortunately, he's out of town and couldn't call in to kind of give his perspective of this. But what he did tell me is that the changes that were made in the Senate yesterday, they did support. And what this group says is that Mississippi independent pharmacies or pharmacists and their patients are being hurt by what they call PBMs, which are pharmacy benefit managers. Reform is not just possible, it's already working elsewhere and here as well. So what he is telling me this strike all amendment does that the Senate passed yesterday is that it would ensure fair reimbursements. The PBMs must pay the greater of what they pay their own pharmacies or what Mississippi Medicaid pays. It will maintain PBM regulatory authority within the Mississippi Board of Pharmacy. It will include a state health plan, improves administrative appeals process, prohibits retaliation for exercising legal rights, bans spread pricing and hidden fees, stops retroactive claim denials and clawbacks, reforms specialty drug determinations, a major source of increased drug spends by both commercial and state health plans. So other states have passed this and have helped protect their independent hometown pharmacies. Now, there were some Republican senators who did not vote in favor of this strike all yesterday that was brought out on the Senate floor. And what I am hearing, or what is being relayed to me, is that they did not do so because they believe that this will cost the taxpayer more should it become law. I know that some of our senators that did not vote in favor of this yesterday got a lot of hate for it. But they believe it is bad policy for Mississippi. And so I really kind of want to get their opinion on this and let somebody explain to me in a way that you as the listeners can understand, or explain on the show in a way that you can understand why they believe it would cost the taxpayer more, and what can we do to come together, hopefully over conference weekend, when the two sides of the legislature come together and attempt to work with each other in order to get the best bill possible be signed into law. And don't be fooled. Just because a bill does make it to conference weekend does not mean that it cannot be killed. If you remember, piece of legislation that I worked hard on a few years ago, the SAFER Act, which was to protect our women and girls in their safe places, was unfortunately killed conference weekend. Now, if you followed that, you will know that Representative Fred Shanks suspended the rules, brought the bill back to life. Y'all know I say it every day during the legislative session. Nothing is ever dead here in the state of Mississippi until it is dead, dead, dead. And I take it even a step further. I believe nothing is ever dead in the state of Mississippi during our legislative process until sine die, which is when they end session completely for the year. And then still, you can't ever count out a special session being called. So I think that we are going to have possibly one of the men who works with the SIP for PBM reform hopefully call in here in a few minutes. And then also one of the senators that voted no on this legislation on the Senate floor yesterday, so that we can figure out kind of what the disagreement is here and what really truly needs to be done as far as PBM reform goes here in the state of Mississippi. We're going to go ahead and take a break. Hopefully I can get that lined up and we can break it all down right here for you on the Lindsey Beckham Show. Stay with us. We will be right back here at WIAB 103.9.
Tuned here to 103.9 WYAB.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun flip or dive into a sweet the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
After 28 years, we are closing our brick and mortar location in Canton come November 2025. But fear not, smalltownmusic.com will remain alive and well, and you will still be able to text or call 601-859-8596. Small Town Music, come on and get it. 859-8596. Call before you're home. We will have a booth on Canton Square at the Emporium, and you can still browse our guitars and support our original music at www.smalltownmusic.com.
Knock your healthcare needs out of the park with City Center Drugs. Hi, this is Mary Beth Hardy, owner of City Center Drugs, located at the District at East Aver in Jackson. City Center Drugs is your home run destination for prescriptions, over-the-counter medications, vaccines, and even unique gifts with custom gift wrapping. Whether you're aiming to maintain a healthy lifestyle or looking to score the perfect gift, City Center Drugs has got you covered. Swing by today and experience the winning team at City Center Drugs. Visit us online at citycenterdrugs.com and go Braves.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
Hello, I'm Gary Jolly from the Tractor Store. LS Tractor understands your passion for the land, and just like you, LS Tractor is committed to excellence and superior products. LS Tractor comes with a long list of standard features that are unmatched by other brands and backed with the LS commitment to provide exceptional customer service and satisfaction. You get a lot more for your money with the LS Tractor. Come to the Tractor Store in Richland to experience the LS difference. The Tractor Store in Richland.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show. We are live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. We are breaking down the latest drama, I guess you could say, out of our legislature in this legislative session, which took place on the Senate floor yesterday in the bill discussing PBM reform. I believe we have Senator Chad McMahon on the line. Chad, can you hear me?
Yes. Hey, Lindsey.
Hey, thanks for being able to call in and talk about this today. I told the listeners in the first segment, this is above my pay grade. This is not an issue that I'm well versed in, but it's obviously been a big hot topic the last several years, and this year, of course, as well. And we saw saw being broken down on the Senate floor yesterday. So can you explain to me kind of what came to you guys and then what took place yesterday?
Yeah. So what came to pharmacies? Most of this is governed by the federal government in RISA. Okay. So we've tried for the last couple of years to give independent pharmacies some relief, so they could have some spread price and they could make a little bit better margin on some of the spread. And the PBMs could not pay the independent pharmacists less than they're paying their own pharmacies. So we had a compromise worked out, and the House of Representatives sent us a piece of legislation that was a compromise in pretty much 3 years worth of work. Well, there were some senators that decided to rewrite that legislation, and so now it abolishes the compromise. And so now we're going to have this debate's going to continue because now the legislation has to go back down the House of Representatives for more debate. But I did not vote for what the Senate passed yesterday, and here's why. The Legislative Budget Office projects that it's going to cost the taxpayer $34 million more a year in Medicaid dollars. $34 million. So I'm here to do one thing, vote the will of my district, but I'm also here to protect the taxpayer. And I cannot, healthcare is already expensive enough. And I could not, in good faith, make the taxpayer pay another $34 million in premiums for fees for drugs. I want the drug costs to be lower. The other thing it's going to do, it's going to allow the independent pharmacies to put a fee. Every time you go in and buy a drug, they're going to be able to put a fee on that up to $9. So
is that like a filling fee, Chad?
Yes. Yes, so it's going to cost more. Now, the proponents of the bill say this is not going to be the case, that it won't do that. And I hope they're right. But, all I can do is vote based on the information that I have at the time. And look, I'm for independent pharmacies, Lindsey. I talk all the time about buy local. I shop at my local pharmacy. I shop at my local grocery stores. I shop at my local hardware store. I go in all those places before I ever go into a big box store. As a matter of fact, you will rarely ever catch me in a big box store outside of Lowe's or Home Depot.
And I've heard you say that. I've heard you say that several times when you've been on Clay's shows, that you'll pay more for tires that are that come from a small town mom and pop place than one of the big retailers.
Yeah, so I purchased some tires last year, and I told them I wanted tires made in Mississippi. And so I believe it was $20. It may have been $23. I don't recall. I paid $20 more per tire to have tires that were made in Mississippi, because Mississippi has 3 great tire manufacturers: Continental Tire, Cooper Tire, which is Goodyear's, and then you've got the Yokohama Tire at West Point. And so I wanted tires made in Mississippi by Mississippians. The difference is that's my private dollars. If I want to choose to do business with my independent pharmacies and with my independent grocery stores and with mom and pop businesses, and I choose to pay more, that's fine. But I can't make the taxpayer be on the hook for Medicaid to pay more just to support a certain industry. I wouldn't allow independent grocery stores or independent tire companies to put a $9 service fee on top of the invoice when you go into your local grocery store or any other local store. And look, this is coming from somebody. I really do shop locally. I buy my clothes locally. I buy everything I can locally. Now, there are some things like deodorant and things of that nature that I normally buy at Dollar General. I know they're considered a big box store, but they do pay a great wage to their local staff. So I do shop at Dollar General from time to time for some things. So I'm not trying to take some righteous high road here and say I never do any business with larger companies, and I do. But it's the difference in choosing, Lindsay. If you want to buy locally and pay a little bit more, that's great. But I'm not going to force you as the taxpayer to pay a higher health care cost. Am I doing a good job explaining it?
Yeah. So tell me, Chad, have you heard from your constituents that maybe own small hometown pharmacies? Are they upset with you about this vote?
Yeah, so again, the independent pharmacies are, but I have talked with independent pharmacists over the last 3 years, and I've talked with a lot of business over the last 3 years. And look, I encourage your listeners, you've got a very sophisticated listener. Everything we do in the state capitol is open for debate. They can go to YouTube and watch the debate. It was a long and lengthy and passionate debate on both sides. Go and listen. Mm-hmm. But it's going to run up drug costs according to LBO, according to the businesses that I talk with, the job creators in this state. It's going to cost more money for people to operate. Your healthcare costs are going to go up. If you work for a large factory, if you work for Nissan or Toyota or Cooper Tire or Yokohama Tire, your drug costs, according to everyone that's telling me, your drug costs is going to go up if this bill becomes law. And of course, it still has to go back to the House of Representatives, and then the governor still has to sign it as well. Mm-hmm. So it's a long way from becoming law. But all I can do, Lindsay, look, I'm a retired factory worker, okay? Sometimes people think that elected officials, that we're all doctors and lawyers or independently wealthy. I'm a retired factory worker. And all I can do is vote the will of the district that I represent based on the numbers that are presented to me. And I could not see raising healthcare costs, drug costs for the folks that I represent based on the data that was given to me.
Where do you get this data? Is there a place that sends you what it would look like, or how do you know what those rises in costs would actually be?
So I called a couple of businesses and asked them to project what it would cost them if this goes in. So several of them did send me those numbers. One big organization in our state, they said it's going to cost their employees $1.3 million a year more. Another one told me $800,000. But the Legislative Budget Office are experts that work for the taxpayer and work for the legislature. They project, they give us numbers. There's very sophisticated formula on how they project the budget from year to year and different costs. And they gave us an estimate. And the Legislative Budget Office and DFA gave us some numbers that said it's going to cost a minimum of $34 million, and it could be more. But I hope that's not the case. But based on the evidence, based on the data I had at the time, that's what they're projecting.
I'm curious, Chad, do you think there's a chance over conference weekend that the two chambers can come together and figure out a way to implement PBM reform without that increased taxpayer rate?
Yes, I want there to be some PBM reform. I don't want the independent pharmacists to be paid less than the PBMs are paying their own pharmacists or paying reimbursing their own pharmacies. So I do want there to be some reform. And the United States Congress did pass some legislation that's going to offer some relief that we're going to see across the country as well.
Yeah, I got to say, Chad.
As I've stated, Lindsay, all I can do is the best I can do based on the information I have and based on what I'm hearing from my constituents. And I know the independent pharmacists, I think there's 389 of them across the state. I know this was very important to them, but House Bill 1665 was 3 years worth of work, and it was a compromise that would have helped them on the spread pricing. And I'm for that. I would have voted for that.
See, that's so funny.
Not come forward and offered a completely different law, just a completely different law that raises the cost on the taxpayer.
You know, I believe I heard Senator England say something along the same lines as well. And I almost feel like hell has frozen over when we see senators who say, we'd rather have the House version of the bill. I didn't expect to hear that this session at all.
Well, my colleagues in the House work hard. We're a government of the people and by the people. And most everybody down there, for the most part, are just everyday regular people doing the best we can to represent the people that send us there. And, there's a lot of passion on both sides of this issue, but, I want the independent pharmacists to survive, but I also want fair pricing for the business creators in this state that create jobs, the job creators in the state. But it's absolutely going to cost more. I mean, Lindsay, when I call these large companies, you don't think they know how to run numbers? You don't think Nissan and Toyota and Ingalls Shipbuilding and Cooper Tire, you don't think they know how to run numbers? Of course they do. And it's all projected. All of their costs are projected to go up next year if this piece of legislation becomes law the way it passed the Senate. I want the House version. 1665 was a fair compromise, and it would have helped the local pharmacy. It would have. So anyway, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that something will still come out of it.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, I know that this is something that they have really, like you said, been very passionate about, and I've seen some local hometown pharmacies having to close their doors or close to it because we haven't been able to implement anything yet. So I'm hopeful that there can be a compromise or something can come about, and maybe at conference weekend. And I appreciate you taking the time to call in and explain that. Well, before session's over, we're gonna have to get you in here on the show so you can kind of break down what you think has transpired throughout this legislative session and what you think is there's still hope for to come out of conference weekend.
Yeah, I'm happy to meet with you. Happy to be on your show, Lindsay. Thank you for always being on the cutting edge of topics. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you, Chad. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time. I'm sure you're probably headed back home now, so drive safe. And,
I am driving home. And look, to the independent pharmacists out there that are listening, if Mississippi House Bill, House of Representatives, House Bill 1665 comes back before us, and it is the compromise between industry and the pharmacies, which represented 3 years worth of work, I will vote for it, and it will help them. But what's driving independent pharmacies, Lindsay, a lot of people just don't shop local anymore.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
That's a fact. They don't shop. Think when Walmart, I hate to pick on Walmart, but think about how different everything looked 50 years ago before Walmart came in.
Yeah.
To your communities.
Well, and it's hard with the economy and people struggling today. It's hard. They're more likely to go to the big box stores if there's a cheaper price because that's all they can afford.
That's correct. That's correct.
unfortunately, that's
That's
kind of
correct.
what we're
But I
seeing.
do want to take this opportunity to ask Mississippians, Americans, please buy local when you can. Buy tires made in Mississippi, buy vehicles that are made in America, buy whatever you can afford to buy. If you have an opportunity to buy something made in the United States, please purchase that product and purchase it in your state. I support my local farmers markets, and a lot of times I find, Lindsey, that sometimes the local places have better pricing and a little better product. And to the independent pharmacists, one of the reasons I go to an independent pharmacist and I'm willing to pay a little more is because if I have some thoughts or concerns I would like to have addressed, normally an independent pharmacist will spend a few minutes with me and answer my questions, and I'm willing to pay for that service.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I agree. Well, thank you so much, Chad. This is Senator Chad McMahon. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. I know you're headed home and you have a big few weeks coming up. So we'll see what ends up coming out of this session.
Lindsey, thank you for the open and honest debate. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Chad. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, we got to take a break. Y'all stay with us. I believe that we have somebody from the other side or from the PBM reform group who's been behind this legislation, pushing this and advocating for our hometown pharmacies, who we are going to be able to talk to here in just a minute. Fingers crossed that works out. We'll be right back here. WYB 103.9, The Lindsey Beckham Show.
.1039 WYAB.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun flip or dive into a sweet the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
CBS News brief. The Pentagon says all 6 Americans on board died in the crash of a U.S. military refueling plane in Iraq yesterday. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
War is hell. War is chaos. And as we saw yesterday with the tragic crash of our KC-135 tanker, bad things can happen.
Hegseth vowed today to get the Strait of Hormuz reopened. Patrick DeHaan at GasBuddy.com says efforts to release some oil reserves will have limited effect.
It may be a Band-Aid on a gaping wound, but this is going to be something that persists until the Strait of Hormuz is fully reopened.
Praise today for the security officers who shot and killed an attacker at a synagogue in Michigan. Senator Elissa Slotkin.
The Jewish community suffers 10 times the number of hate crimes than any other community in this country. So it is an epidemic. And until we push back on that permission, we're going to see incidents like this continue to proliferate.
CBS News Brief, I'm Steve Kathan.
This is Jack Hoffman. For nearly 31 years, Tico's Steakhouse has been a staple of fine dining in Jackson, Mississippi. Dad has long since desired for me to come work alongside him. And now that I'm here, I would like to invite you to come experience our family tradition of our hospitality, sizzling steaks, and healthy poured beverages. Our dining rooms are open and we are taking reservations. Our private rooms are also available along with takeout. Call today or stop in to experience Tico's in the second generation.
Tico's Steakhouse, East County Lime Road in Ridgeland, 601-956-1030.
Did you get us switched over to shelter insurance?
Actually, I found a deal online.
You did. Does your deal come with award-winning customer service?
Oh,
I'm not sure.
Does the deal include a local agent?
Doesn't actually say.
Can we create a customized plan that fits our needs? Let's just call the local shelter agent.
For insurance that fits just right, find a shelter agent near you.
Located in Ridgeland and Flora, come see me, Jamie Creel, Shelter Insurance.
Have a large fleet of vehicles? Looking for somewhere to provide routine maintenance? Tired of waiting on an appointment? Ken here with Rapid Oil Change. We accept most local and national fleets as well as 30-day in-house accounts with no appointment needed. We offer maintenance packages to fit any need. Oil changes, wipers, tires, car washes, and more. Have a diesel? No sweat. We carry diesel exhaust fluid and diesel fuel filters. With over 40 years of experience, Rapid Oil is the right choice for your fleet. Stop in today and let us keep your fleet ready and on the road.
Acme Pizza and Daiquiris is leveling up. A whole new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris is now open at the Reservoir at Beethoven's Boardwalk in Ridgeland, right next door to Cock of the Walk. And the new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris will have all of your old favorites too, like the Acme Dynamite Balls and Garlic Knots, and the best specialty pizzas ever, like the Pig, the Sergeant Pepperoni, the Surf and Turf, and lots more. Come to the all-new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris location on the Res in Ridgeland, next door to Cock of the Walk.
Why should you choose Ceramic Air Conditioning and Heating for all service or installation? Well, they purchase all parts directly from the manufacturer. All of their factory-trained technicians have been hand-selected for skill, work ethic, and experience. There are never any hidden fees or charges. Ceramic Air Conditioning and Heating is dedicated to your complete satisfaction, and they're family-owned and operated. For residential and commercial service or installation, contact Ceramic Air Conditioning and Heating, 601-317-0729, or make an appointment through their Facebook page.
Come together.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show. Again, we are talking about the PBM reform bill. There was a strike all presented yesterday on the Senate floor, and the House bill was basically replaced with different language. We had several Republican senators who voted against it, one of those being Senator Chad McMahon, who we just spoke to. And I believe that we are going to have someone from the PBM Reform Board call in and tell us what they think about the changes that were made yesterday to the House version of the bill, or the Senate's new version of the original House bill. I think it's funny. I did not ever think I would hear, especially this legislative session, one of our senators say, "Oh, I would have definitely supported the House version, but voted against the Senate version." Let's see if we have him. Hey there, you there? Okay, let's see. Looks like he's calling on the other line. Let's see if we can get him. Hey there, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me? Is this Joe? Joe? Uh-oh, we seem to be having some technical difficulties there. Let's see. I'm going to try one more time. But I believe that they definitely supported the House version initially. I think that a lot of, from what I understand, they are supporting the Senate. Let's see. I think we got it now. Hey, Joe. Hey, so sorry about that. I don't know what was going on there. So this is Joe Michael Robertson, and he is on the Mississippi Independent Pharmacy Board, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, tell me where you guys stand on these latest happenings at the Mississippi legislature yesterday with the Senate strike all and the new language.
Absolutely. So how we got there was we had our own bill in the House and the Senate, and the bill was in committee, but they decided not to take up our bill that would really help independent pharmacies and give us meaningful PBM reform. In the past, things have been taken out of our bills, and it's really not going to really help us. And so they just want to pass something to pass it. And it's just not going to be meaningful PBM reform that's going to help independent pharmacies stay open. And so Senator Zuber and several others had a bill that they called it a compromise, but I guess we never had a say in it. It was Bill 1665, and it came out of the committee, and they were supposed to give us time to review it. And 2 minutes before it went to the floor, they put it on the computer for us to review, and they sent it through the House. It was voted through and went over to the Senate. And so when it went over to the Senate, we had time to look at it, and it just really didn't help us any. And so Senator Parks has always been a champion for independent pharmacy for several years, and she and her committee on the Senate side decided to do a strike-off for us and basically replace the bill with the bill that was over there. And so 1665 is now the Mississippi Independent Pharmacy Bill. And we did make concessions after meeting with Senator Delbert Hosemann. He thought that we needed to make concessions with the businesses, and we did. We even though steering would really help independent pharmacies, where people like CVS Caremark will steer employees of certain businesses to CVS, we decided, okay, well, we'll take that out because we believe this new NADAC, NADAC language, which is our reimbursement language, will really help be transparent, and we'll be able to see the high prices that they're charging. And so the things that are out there are really astounding. I know, let's just look on Senator Chad's Facebook page, and he said that it's going to cost Medicaid $35 million next year. Well, the truth of the matter is Medicaid has been on this exact model for many, many years. So nothing's going to change for Medicaid. As a matter of fact, Medicaid, the very first year, saved between $45 and $55 million on this new model. So I don't know where he's getting his information from, but it's not accurate. And I'm sure it's from the PBMs because those guys are really up to no good. As a matter of fact, CVS Caremark last year brought in $400 billion, over $1 billion a day. And so the ways that they do that are just incredible. You wouldn't believe if I were to tell you some of the ways that they make money, and they make it through spread pricing. And so it's really been a big deal for us, and we're really excited to get this thing going. We just need this bill to be brought to a vote on the floor. In the years past, it's always like last year. We sat down with the other side before the year, and we came upon agreements, and we made a lot of concessions, and we said, okay, let's send it on through. And they did. Well, it came back, and guess what? They put it in committee and gutted the bill. And we're afraid that's what they're trying to do again this year. We have the votes. It passed the Senate overwhelmingly, and so we just feel like we have the votes. We just need to get it to a vote.
So,
and,
Joe,
and
tell
we
me
get some relief for independent pharmacies.
Tell me what the difference is between the version that was in the House bill that they basically did a strike all through yesterday and put in new language. What is the difference between that bill and then what ended up passing at the Senate yesterday?
Right, sure. The big hangup they have is our reimbursement. Okay, so what they had in their bill said, okay, PBMs, y'all have to pay independent pharmacies what you pay your own pharmacies, which, by the way, is a lot more. As a matter of fact, the State Board of Pharmacy has caught Optum, Express Scripts, and CVS paying themselves 15 times more than they pay us. So on the surface, it sounds pretty good. But in reality, we can't implement that because guess what? There's no transparency. We have no idea without after-the-fact audits to be able to find out that they're paying themselves 15 times more. So it's just not practical. There's no way for us on the front end at the cash register to get the prices that they're paying themselves. It's always after-the-fact audits. It's always fines that we have to levy. Now, Optum is suing the State Board of Pharmacy individually, trying scare tactics to keep them from finding them and collecting the money. So, on the surface, it sounds good. It's just not practical. We're not going to help us one bit. And so this new language that we have is something called NADAC. And sometimes you can get in the weeds. It gets a little confusing. But I'll attempt it real quick. NADAC, NADAC, plus this $11.29 dispensing fee is what we're asking for. And
that's one thing, that's one thing Senator McMahon brought up was like the filling fee that would go to every patient, I guess, under this new
That's
Senate
right.
language.
Here's the misnomer. Let me tell you the difference here. So $11.29 is what they're focused on. So what they do is, for their comparison, how it's going to cost them money, they say $11.29 times all the prescriptions they filled, and this is how much it's going to go up. Totally and completely false. NADAC is the baseline. What they're currently using now is something called AWP, actual wholesale price. Well, guess what? It's not actual wholesale price. It's a price that manufacturers come up with, and they pull it out of thin air. And it's been proven throughout any research that anybody does that NADAC with the brand names are 23% plus cheaper. Listen to this. Generics, NADAC is 94% cheaper than AWP. So even with that $11.29 dispensing fee, you have a much lower baseline to start with. And when you add those two together, the NADAC plus $11.29, it has proven throughout the United States that it's much, much lower than AWP. And so the reason the PBMs don't want that is because that's how they get rich. They're charging these companies, Ergon, Ingalls, all the big companies, the AWP, whenever they're paying for the insurance. Well, they're paying us AWP minus 20, 21, 22%. And so we're making basically cost or below cost on many medications out there. Guess who's keeping the difference? Guess who's keeping what they call the spread, the PBMs. And that's how they get $1 billion a day. It's just incredible some of the things out there you see. Express Scripts, home office, and where they send their money is in the Cayman Islands, if that tells you anything.
Oh, wow.
and that's the case with all those PBMs. The big three are Optum, Optum, Express Scripts, and CVS. They handle over 80% of all prescriptions in the United States. And the industry-wide is over $1 trillion. We're talking about a service industry here, but they don't have inventory. It's over $1 trillion.
Joe, where have we seen this type of PBM reform that you guys are asking for? Where have we seen this work? Is it working in other states?
Everywhere. Look at Alabama, Louisiana, Tennessee, all across the nation. But guess where? Mississippi. We cannot get this to a vote. It just makes so much sense. And if anybody don't believe me, I know Google's not always right, but whatever AI, Grok, Chat, GPT, it doesn't matter. You look it up. It is PBM reform is saving states money left and right. I don't know if I mentioned it, but Ohio saved over $200 million. West Virginia, they have tons of research out there of how much money they've saved. And it's a lot of smoke and mirrors going on out there. When you have $400 billion like CVS Caremark does, you can spend a lot of money on propaganda in ways to fool some of the people that are out there making the decisions. Yesterday morning, I saw one of our pharmacists in Grenada, Mississippi, has a customer that came in, and she said that she was having to fill one of her prescriptions at a specialty pharmacy. Of course, it's owned by the PBM. And that prescription, she looked up, the pharmacist did, and it was going to cost her to get it in for this patient $120. So even if the patient had to pay cash price, it might have been $130 or $40 or $50. Do you know what the specialty pharmacy owned by the PBM charged the payer, the company, for this particular medication? $120 medication. They charged them $17,000.
Oh my goodness.
$17,000. People hear that and they just don't believe
that. Should be a crime. That should absolutely be a crime.
That's crazy. I mean, but to get $1 trillion, it's $1 trillion is paying $1 million paying 1 million people $1 million a piece. It's just incredible.
Joe,
amount
I
of
hate.
money.
I
Can't even
absolutely
wrap
hate.
your mind around
I
it.
hate to cut you off. I gotta take a break.
Yeah,
I
it's okay.
would love to have more of this conversation maybe next week. I'll be in touch. But thank
Yeah,
you so
sure.
much for calling in. I really appreciate.
Absolutely. Y'all have a
Yes,
great day.
yes, you too. Thanks so much. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back here on the Lindsey Beckham Show.
We are the longest running ICAR Gold Class certified repair facility in Mississippi. We know how to repair your vehicle, and we will work with your insurance company on your behalf. In Clinton and in Richland, we work for you. We take pride in perfection.
Venable Glass is your local glass expert, offering residential, automotive, and commercial glass. Venable Glass can do it all. Windshield repair, replacement of shower doors, mirrors, and everything in between. What sets Venable Glass apart from the rest? Unmatched reliability and customer service. Don't forget, tell your insurance company that you want to use Venable Glass. And remember, you do have a choice. Let Venable Glass work hard to earn your business. Call Venable's Ridgeland or Brandon locations today for a free estimate or visit venableglass.com.
Here's what they're saying about Corcoran Door Company.
I'm going to yell out to one of your sponsors here, Corcoran Door. When the guy came out here, instead of just trying to throw a door up, he was looking at the way the house was facing. Man, with this double garage here on the south side, you might want to consider a insulated door. I came in earlier today about 2:30. The car thermometer said 99 degrees. The thermometer inside the garage was 82.
That's why they've been around 50 years.
Yeah.
Corkanddoor.com. CORKERN door.com.
Ladies, tired of running on empty, sleepless nights, mood swings, stubborn weight, skin that has lost its glow? It is not just getting older. It is your body begging for help. Hey, y'all, I'm Morgan at Women's Wellness in Mississippi. At Women's Wellness in Mississippi, we bring it all together. Hormone therapy, medical weight loss, and the latest, greatest aesthetic treatments like facials, lasers, Botox, and so much more. This is where wellness and beauty meet so that you can feel amazing inside and out. At Women's Wellness in Mississippi, the best version of you is waiting right around the corner.
Homeowners and business owners, are your gutters and roof storm ready? The folks at Elite Roofing and Gutters are your local experts in storm protection. The team is dedicated to fortifying your residential or commercial location against the elements. Now is the time for an inspection and for proactive solutions that ensure your roof and gutters can withstand any storm. Elite Roofing and Gutters. Online at eliteroofer.com. eliteroofer.com.
When leaks, clogs, or cold showers slow you down, call on Anglin Plumbing, the plumbing experts who get the job done right the first time. Leaky faucet, sink, or toilet? Need a water heater installed? Call on Anglin Plumbing. You can always trust Anglin's reliable and hardworking technicians. Don't let plumbing headaches ruin your day. Call on Anglin Plumbing Service to get it fixed. And you can be a part of the team. Anglin Plumbing is now hiring. Learn more about Anglin Plumbing at anglinplumbing.com.
If you want the best health care, where do you go? The Mayo Clinic. If you want the best care for your vehicle, where do you go? Mayo Auto Clinic in Raymond. Mayo Auto Clinic does foreign and domestic vehicles and diesel repair. Mayo Auto Clinic has ASE certified techs with over 25 years of experience. You can extend the life of your car or truck when you take it to Mayo Auto Clinic. For cost-effective repairs and maintenance, go to the best, Mayo Auto Clinic. Open weekdays at 7 a.m. Highway 18 in Raymond.
What are people saying about Tom's Fried Pies in Richland?
Tom's Fried Pies. And I made the mistake. I ordered one pie. I figured, you know what? I'll try Tex-Mex. It was so good. Man, second go around, I ate the pecan pie. You will need a meat pie and a dessert one. Get both because they are off the hook.
I went to Tom's Fried Pies today, and I'm going back. I tried the taco one, really good. When I go back, I'll bring some home.
Tom'sFriedPies.com.
Come together right now.
This is Central Mississippi Stimulating Talk.
1039 WYAB. Pocahontas, Jack.